We have some breaking news for you. There is a verdict in the case we have been watching out of Vermont. This is the case for Joseph Ferlazzo. The jury did deliberate for 3 hours and 30 minutes. The judge has just called for the jury. Let's go in.
Please be seated. Ms. Reno, I understand the jury has reached a verdict. How do you find Mr. Ferlazzo on the count of first-degree murder, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Jantz, would you like us to poll?
I would, please.
And Mr. Zago, is that your verdict, guilty or not guilty?
All right, if you've noticed that we can't hear the audio right now, they are saying the jurors' names. So, of course, we cannot reveal the names of the jurors in this case. But what we can tell you that we have heard the verdict, and he is being found guilty. The jurors have found him guilty of first-degree murder. 7 women and 5 men have been deliberating this case. Took them over 3 hours to reach this verdict, saying that he's guilty of first-degree murder for the death of his wife, 22-year-old Emily. Let's listen again.
So much for your service. It's clear you were very thoughtful throughout the trial. Really appreciate how you were always on time, you were always listening, taking notes, and really studying the evidence as it was coming in. Really appreciate your time in this case. Thank you, and you're excused with the great thanks of the court. All right. By the state.
Judge, just obviously that Mr. Ferlazzo continue to be held without bail.
Judgment of guilt entered at this time.
Yes.
And like the opportunity to file post-trial.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
I know what the time limits usually are, but I'd give you a bit more if that's what you want.
I do. In light of the holidays coming up, I'd like until January 15th.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
January 15th, any response from the state will give you 3 weeks to respond, if that's all right with you. And so we'll set it sometime in mid-February. So 3 weeks would be about February 3rd.
Just reminding the court of my medical schedule.
We will.
We can deal with it because there'll be a PSI and so forth.
All right. Anything further from the defense?
No.
Schedule a PSI in this matter?
Yes.
We'll schedule a pre-sentence investigation report, and we'll come back on any motions filed and then for sentence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And there you have it. Joseph Ferlazzo Jr., guilty of first-degree murder, again accused of killing his wife, shooting her twice in the head, and then dismembering her body. You're taking a look at the people inside the gallery reacting to the verdict. Obviously, some high emotions there in that courtroom in Vermont. This was a situation where He was significantly older than Emily. They got married in Vermont on the beautiful Lake Champlain. Then they came back there to celebrate their 1-year anniversary. He took the stand in his own defense, describing their relationship, which seemed a little bit out of the ordinary, how he was interested in having some other partners, and Emily would get upset with him at these occurrences. And at times he said that she would become violent with him, throwing wine bottles at him and physically assaulting him when he was on the stand. At first he really was describing a lot of the physical violence, but then later on in his testimony he was saying, well, it really didn't hurt me, it just kind of was normal. But you have to wonder, when he was on the stand and he was giving his testimony, if they found it credible, because then the jurors asked to review his testimony when they were deliberating.